Located in the Chuyang Pass west of Beijing is the defensive shield of Beijing. Originally, the Chuyang Pass allowed traffic to pass freely between north and south. The southern pass was called the Southern Mouth, and the northern part was called Badaling. This is only about 60 kilometers from Beijing, and so attracts countless Chinese and foreigner visitors every year. The Chuyang Pass holds an important geographic position. Ancient records call it one of the 9 strong points of China. Others said that if you had not been to Chuyang, you could never understand China's defenses. During the Ming Dynasty, 4 gates were set into this 30-kilometer-long corridor. Among them was the strategic number 4 pass, Badaling. Badaling is one of the most important points along the Great Wall. The wall here is narrower on the east and wider on the west. There are gates to the east and west, topped by a placard that reads Defense of Chuyang. The Badaling Wall is the best preserved and maintained section of the Great Wall. The wall is high and sturdy with a stone foundation. The top is paved with wide stones. Here, the wall is approximately 7 to 8 meters high, though in places it exceeds 14 meters. At strategic points near the wall, about every 200 meters, there is a watchtower or fire tower. Badaling is the most momentous section of the wall. One can even say that it represents the essence of the entire Great Wall of China. The reason why this part of the wall attracts so many tourists is a combination of rugged landscape and convenient local transportation. When climbing up the Badaling Wall, this section is divided into the right and left-hand sides. The northward view from the right is relatively flat and is more hilly from the left. The right-hand side is often very crowded with tourists, though there are fewer on the left side. Climbing the Great Wall requires some strength to reach the fire tower, which offers a sweeping view in all directions. You can see the entire pass and far beyond. This stunning scene includes many beautiful mountains and rivers. Along the wall, there are many spots for visitors to take photographs and rest. Some places offer tourists a chance to take home a photographic souvenir of themselves on camels, horses, or dressed in colorful folk costumes. In addition, next to the Qinglong Bridge train station at Badaling, there is a bronze statue and museum devoted to the ingenious Chinese railroad engineer Chan Tianyu. When the Beijing to Changjiakou railway line was being constructed, it had to pass through Badaling. Due to the steep mountains, foreign railroad companies refused to undertake construction of this section of track. To the amazement of the entire world, Zhan Tianyu was able to employ a zigzag-shaped track to solve this technical problem. A stone memorial tablet commemorates his deed. Behind the statue lies the remains of Zhan Tianyu and his wife. In modern Badaling, there is more to do than just appreciate the beauty of the Great Wall. Many other sites worth visiting have been added. These include exhibits of terracotta soldier and horse funerary figurines and other antiquities. The energetic visitor can have a very fulfilling journey to the Great Wall. The Chuyang Pass used to be called the Chiman Pass. Tang Dynasty poets once described it with the verses, "The fortifications along the Great Wall glisten with freshly fallen snow. Gazing in three directions, I see the colors of threatening enemy flags, and fire towers among a sandy expanse are linked to the barbarian moon. The Chuyang Wall guards distant lakes and misty mountains." These lines elegantly describe the importance of the border defenses at Chuyang Pass. They also point out its role as the inspiration for great literature. The Chuyang Pass is one of the three most famous passes along the wall. Within the Chuyang Pass, there are many places worth visiting. Near the south end of the pass lies the Cloud Terrace, which was built in 1345 AD. 4 years were spent on its construction. Originally, a pagoda of the Liamistic sect of Buddhism stood on the terrace, but the pagoda was destroyed, and now only the terrace itself remains. After the pagoda's destruction, it was named the Cloud Terrace. The present terrace is constructed of white marble. The top portion is smaller than the bottom. The top is 25.8 meters wide. Traversing 20.9 meters through the middle of the terrace is a gated passageway large enough for a horse-pulled cart to pass. The upper portion of the passage is octagonal. This passageway is so rare because of its antiquity. It predates the Song and Yuan dynasties. The upper terrace has 4 sides and is encircled by a delicately carved balustrade of white marble. 5 original rooms remain on top that were part of the foundation of the original pagoda. These are the remnants of the Tai'an Temple constructed in the Ming Dynasty. With the gateway there are many old carvings of great historical value. In the center of the upper portion is the carving of 5 datura plants. On each side are carvings of 10-sided Buddha and 1,000 Buddhas. The 4 corners of the gateway are carved with 4 giant pillars of the King of Heaven. Besides Buddhist images, there are also Buddhist scriptures carved in 6 different languages. Although these carvings have become less legible due to their antiquity, the statues themselves are still quite moving. This delicate carving immortalizes many religious legends. One glance is enough to know that this is a masterpiece of Yuan dynasty carving. Most of what we have seen beside the Great Wall has consisted of steep mountainscapes and monumental architecture. But at the Chuyang Pass, we can also see exquisite Yuan dynasty sculpture. This adds to the richness of any visit to the Great Wall. From the Shanhai Pass, we travel westward along the wall. After Chuyang, it divides along 2 paths. To the northwest is the Ming Dynasty outer wall. The inner wall extends southwestward. One strategic point has a very interesting name. The Chinese name for this place in Pingding County, Shanxi Province, means Amazon Pass. On the south gate hang placards that read Capital Frontier and the 9th Pass into China. At the beginning of the Tang Dynasty, Princess Pingyuan, daughter of Li Yuan, ordered a detachment of female soldiers to be stationed here. This is where the name Amazon Pass comes from.
外的兵侵犯咱们山西了，是这么个关口。这个关口呢，这个关口是从这个明朝开始，这个皇宫全部都挪到北京去了。这个关口就修下来以后，就改了名称了，改了什么了？燕子关，就是那个我这个山西人嘛，可能是你们也不懂，就是这个妇女们抹口红胭脂的那个。
胭脂关呢？
哎，胭脂关。这个关为什么要写这个呢？
女人住的地方。
哎，就是在北京故宫那边，就是这个侍女啊，或者是这个皇宫那边的女的，他们这个胭脂、口红胭脂，他们化妆品用的这个关口就指这个用，这个关口。后边慈禧太后一死，后边就又改成娘子关。那个碑，你们看看，那个碑它就是基本上是把这个关介绍的。以前那个直隶娘子关，就是以前娘子关归这个石家庄的郑定府所管的。
但是上头还没有，
上头这是个城墙，这个城墙吧，咱们娘子关是3个关口的，而不是光娘子关，旧关、新关、娘子关。那边呢，为什么要叫那边？那边叫大道，这边叫小道。以前那个军队呀、车马、车辆呀都走那边，不走这边。这边就是人行的，这边就是养兵的。从那上边，现在那边有个学校，学校往上全部都是兵营。
Amazon Pass has 2 entry points. If we use China's modern provincial boundaries, one pass lies in Hebei Province and the other is in Shanxi Province. Fortifications in the northern pass were constructed in the Tang Dynasty, and those in the south during the Ming. The Empress Dowager Zuxi changed the name of Amazon Pass to Cosmetics Pass. This was to point out her own love of generously applied beauty oils and fragrant flowers. After Zuxi's death, the name was changed back to Amazon Pass. Exiting the pass and continuing westward, we cross through the Hoshi Corridor. To improve access to the western frontier, the Han Dynasty Emperor Wu Ti had a 1,000-mile-long wall with countless fire towers constructed through the Hoshi Corridor. Due to their own weakness, Ming Dynasty rulers were unable to extend their reconstruction of the wall beyond this point, and so the Jiagu Pass marks the end of the Ming Dynasty portion of the Great Wall of China. The Jiagu Pass is in Kansu Province in the middle of the Hoshi Corridor. Not only is this the end of the Ming Dynasty Great Wall, but it is also the best preserved section of the wall. To the south of Jiagu Pass is Mount Qilian, which is eternally buried in snow. To the north runs Black Mountain Valley. The Jiagu Pass was constructed at a point between these two mountains. This high section of wall controls traffic between east and west like the crossbar of a door. Since ancient times, the Chiaku Pass has been called the most strategic place in Hoxi. This was a vital point in the defenses of Imperial China. The fortifications here are constructed of earthen bricks. The inner wall is at the heart of these defenses. The surface of the entire wall is covered with high crenellations on the west and lower ones on the east. The total length of the inner wall is 640 meters. The eastern wall runs 156 meters, and the western wall 164 meters. The north and south walls are each 160 meters long. The wall is 10.6 meters high and topped with observation slits. Lamp towers are placed to the west of the wall to eliminate the Chiaku Pass at night. Although the wall here is constructed of earthen bricks, it is well made. Despite the passing of many centuries, the various kinds of watchtowers atop the wall remain intact. The inner wall of the Chiaku Pass has gates facing east and west, but not north or south. Sturdy walls extend north to Black Mountain Valley and south to Chiaku Pass following the course of the Taolai River. These walls resemble a giant man with arms outstretched. They defend the east-west route along the Hoxi corridor. The east gate is called the Gate of Luminous Transformation. This refers to the dark fog that rises in the east only to be illuminated by the sun's rays. The west gate is called the Gate of Conquering Distant Peoples. This refers to its goal of deterring potential enemies. Both gates have a similar shape and the doors are still movable. Each is topped with a 3-story square-roof tower. It summons up a grand, majestic, lonely beauty. Walled courtyards are located outside the east and west gates. Each contains an area of 550 square meters. The outer and inner walls are equally high and are equipped with arched doors. The eastern courtyard gate is called the Gate of Imperial Ancestors. To the west is the Gate of Assembled Supremacies. The outer wall beyond the Gate of Conquering Distant Peoples houses yet another gate. This is the main gate of the Chiaku Pass. Originally, a placard reading Most Heroic Stronghold in China hung here. Unfortunately, it was burned and no longer remains. There is only a stone tablet reading China's Heroic Stronghold sitting outside the Gate of Conquering Distant People. This was erected during the Qing Dynasty. There is a road at majestic Chiaku Pass that allows horses to be ridden up to the top. This helped defending soldiers move troops on and off the wall and also allowed military intelligence to be conveyed between the towers more easily. Every 15 kilometers along the Chiaku defensive line, there is a square fort serving as a watchtower. Every 5 kilometers, there is a fire tower. There are a total of 39 fire towers along the Chiaku Pass. These allowed the Ming to transmit information about the military situation almost instantly. Codes were conveyed by not just smoke in the daytime and fires at night, but also by the explosion of specific numbers of firecrackers. A beautiful tale is told about the gates among the white sands of the Chiaku Pass. Once upon a time, there were a pair of sparrows who were madly in love with one another. They built their love nest within one of the gates of the Great Wall. Each day, the sparrow couple would go out together in search of food, and each evening they would return to their nest. One day they returned later than usual. As soon as the female sparrow flew inside the gate, the door suddenly slammed shut, crushing her mate. Some people say that you can still hear the singing of that dead male sparrow inside the gate. Today, visitors to Jiaku Pass who go to the northern corner of the North and South Towers can relive this story. By tapping two stones together here, the echo sounds just like the music of a sparrow. It is as if the female sparrow were still waiting for her mate to return. There is a small tower atop the Jiaku stronghold. Next to this tower, there is a protruding brick made of the same material as the rest of the wall. Why was this brick placed here? According to legend, there was once an official named Changpu Xin who was in charge of repairing the wall at the Jiaku Pass. His foreman was named Yi Kai-chan. Yi Kai-chan was a genius at calculations. He was able to perfectly calculate exactly how much construction material was needed for each job, and he never made a single mistake. There were never any materials left over when a job was finished. Yi Kai-chan calculated that it would take precisely 99,999 bricks to construct the Jiaku stronghold, and said that even if a single brick were left over, he would personally accept the blame. His supervisor did not believe that Yi Kai-chan was so good at calculations, so he added one extra brick and waited for the job to be completed. Everyone waited to make fun of Yi Kai-chan because of the leftover brick, but Yi Kai-chan decreed that heaven had fated there to be one extra brick, which he called the wall inaugurating brick. Upon hearing this, no one dared to make fun of him, and this is why the wall inaugurating brick stands there today. The wall passes downward and continues northwest of the Jiaku Pass. This section of wall also has its own special characteristics. The section of the wall runs from the Jiaku Pass and through across Black Mountain, is called the Hanging Encampment Great Wall. Here, the wall seems to be virtually suspended from wires as it hugs to the side of the mountain. That is how this section of wall got the name Hanging Encampment. The Hanging Encampment Great Wall was constructed during the Ming Dynasty from 1539 to 1540. Here, the wall precipitously follows the shape of this majestic mountain and seems to almost scrape the heavens like a jeweled blade. Mountain and wall complement each other perfectly, making this one of the most remarkable views along the entire stretch of wall. To the right of the Jiaku Pass, the wall runs northward until it meets the Hanging Encampment section of the wall. To the south, the wall flows along the banks of the Taolai River and crosses the valley. On the opposite side are mountains perpetually capped with snow. This is Mount Qilian. At the foot of Mount Qilian, on a cliff overlooking the north bank of the Taolai River, is a fort that was erected in 1539. At this terminus of the Ming Dynasty Great Wall was the dynasty's westernmost fort. This earned it the name, the first fort of the Great Wall. There is very real historical and geographical truth to this name. Although the fort enjoyed a proud title, throughout the ages it witnessed many misfortunes. The Great Wall continues to run from east to west along many famous strategic positions. These noble vistas have managed to withstand the ravages of time. Although the wall here has visibly aged, we can easily recall how it ably served in the defense of China. The line of wall running from east to west along China's northern border was the product of bitter toil by past generations. It is also a testament to their ingenuity. It passes through many different kinds of terrain, climate, and soil. How is it possible that 2,000 years later, the wall continues to endure? The wall's engineers followed the cardinal principle of matching the materials to the terrain. The topography along the course of the wall is extremely complicated. There are high mountains, alluvial plains, and deserts. Due to this varied terrain, the wall is constructed from many kinds of material. In order to conserve manpower and avoid transporting materials for long distances, the workers and artisans who crafted the wall came up with methods for employing local materials to construct the wall. How were local materials used? In mountainous or rocky areas, stone was used to construct the wall. In many other areas, such as Padaling and Chuyang, raw stone came from mines. These were taken to nearby kilns where lime was added and they were baked into bricks. The Ming Dynasty renovation of the wall mostly used stone slabs and bricks. These stones and bricks were all made from local materials. On the alluvial plain, soil was baked into bricks. Continuing westward to the Yunnan Pass and Xinjiang deserts, these areas lacked stone. How could they build a wall out of only sand and gravel? In response to this problem, the Chinese invented a special type of construction material. They mixed sand together with reeds and branches of the Hongliu plant. Workers would fill a mold with a layer of reeds, then a layer of sand, more reeds, more sand, and so on. Accumulated layers were compressed. It was ready to use as a building material. You can still see the remains of the wall near Jiaku Pass that were built using this material. Even after more than 2 millennia of wind and rain, the wall here stands up to 4 meters in height. This is proof that sand and reeds can make a satisfactory construction material. People nowadays might well doubt that this kind of wall would have any real defensive usefulness, but the weapons of early invaders were mainly just bow and arrow, sword, and spear. And so this type of wall really could be an effective defense. But after the middle part of the Ming Dynasty, firearms gradually began to replace earlier weapons to become the principal weapons of warfare. From this time onward, all of the important sections of the Great Wall were rebuilt in brick and stone. You could not say that the wall here was ever very high. How could a wall of this height possibly withstand an onslaught from Xiongnu invaders? The reason is simple. Whenever the Xiongnu went out on a military campaign, they would have to take along their principal food source, sheep. The Xiongnu depended on sheep for their very existence. They might ride out to do battle on noble stallions, but they would be accompanied by flocks of sheep. And so, by being just high enough to be impassable to horses and sheep, the wall could be a successful defense. Although the initial design of the wall took into account the topography of local terrain to maximize its effectiveness, strongholds, fire towers, and other special fortifications were constructed at strategic points along its length. These increased defensive capabilities while conserving manpower and resources. On the section of the wall running from Shanhai Pass to Chuyang Pass, there are many portions that follow mountain ranges. These ingeniously utilize the crags and cliffs in such a way that the outer side is extremely precipitous, while the inner side is much flatter. Although the wall here could easily repel invading troops, Chinese soldiers would find it easier to ascend and descend. This engineering method perfectly accords with the fundamental principles of military doctrine. The Great Wall of China stretches for several thousand miles. How exactly was this vast expanse able to be maintained all at once? The engineering administration of the Great Wall was extremely complex. Traditionally, the wall was divided into separate administrative sections, each of which was under the supervision of a particular individual. The Ming Dynasty Great Wall had a supervisor for each military unit that it passed through. As we look at the enormous size of the Great Wall and think of the tremendous numbers of stones and bricks that went into its making, it is difficult to imagine how these materials were transported up to mountaintops. For example, in Pataling, some of the stone slabs in the wall exceed 3 meters in length and weigh more than 2,000 kilos. Nowadays, it exhausts us to journey to the site of this wall even if we are empty-handed. How were the makers of the wall able to transport such huge slabs of stone? Most were moved by manpower. In some places, they could be transported by simple tools such as wheelbarrows, wooden rollers, or sledge. When crossing mountain gullies, the stones were tied with ropes and dragged along in bamboo baskets to the opposite side. Legend has it that during the construction of the wall, whenever there was insufficient manpower, animals were used to help get the materials to the construction site. They employed animals good at scaling mountains, such as donkeys and mountain goats. Workers would pack the stones on a donkey's back and the bricks among a mountain goat's horns. Then they would goad the animals up the mountain to deliver the materials to the work site. This would help decrease the amount of labor needed for transportation. Each brick and stone of the Great Wall represents the bitter toil of the Chinese people. These laborers exercised their firm determination and impressive ingenuity in overcoming a multitude of difficulties in its construction. The long line of defenses known as the Great Wall of China is a testament to the glories of Chinese civilization. Even among China's many other ancient ruins, the Great Wall stands out. This precious ancient legacy imbues the very mountain landscapes with China's cultural heritage. Regardless of who makes the trip to view the grand spectacle of the Great Wall, they will be impressed by the virtuosic artistry and severe beauty of this ancient structure. The Great Wall of China is often compared to a giant dragon that soars among mountains and cliffs, across vast deserts and giant rivers, through grassy plains and over gentle hills. It passes through the centuries of the history of mankind to make its way into our hearts. Every brick and stone tells tales of both grandeur and terrible suffering. The Great Wall is a symbol that is indelibly burned into the consciousness of every Chinese, and the shadow cast by the Great Wall of China has steadily grown longer and longer until it now blankets the entire world. Whenever people mention China, they inevitably bring up the Great Wall, and whenever they think of the Great Wall, they are reminded of ancient Chinese civilization. The Great Wall of China is the quintessential symbol of the long and marvelous history of Chinese people. The Great Wall is one of China's greatest national treasures and one of the wonders of the world. Its spirit remains unvanquished. It is still the inspiration of legend. We hope that whenever you view the scenery of the Great Wall in person, you will understand the spirit behind it and remember the stories of its creation. You will bring with you the Great Wall of landscape, the Great Wall of history, the Great Wall of literature, and the Great Wall of legend. You will immerse yourself in the multifaceted and colorful world of the Great